Hello everybody, so in our DMs a lot we get the question, is Airbnb too saturated? So we thought, you know what, let's answer it in a video. We're going to give you our take on whether it's too saturated or if it's not too saturated. Hopefully by the end of the video you will have a better idea of whether you should step into the market or whether it's too saturated. And yeah, let's cut the bullshit and let's get straight into the video.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we have a status on it. Of course, we have an answer. Do we think it's too saturated or do we not think it's too saturated? And we'll present our answer in 3 points basically, and hopefully it makes sense to you, right? So we're not biased, but we might have an answer already. We're going to start with demand and supply. Now, the basis of saturation is, simply put, is that the supply, I'll actually draw it out for you. So the supply should be much higher than the demand. If that is the case, then you have a saturated market. If you had, in the instance in the UK, if you had 5 different families in the whole of the UK and 6 houses, that is a saturated market, right? Of course, you can use logic and say the daughter moves out, whatever, but you know what I mean? The basis is quite simple. If there's way more things being supplied than people that actually want them, then you have saturation. So the question is it saturated? Or in the UK, how does the demand and supply look for properties? That takes me to our case point. So we're looking at Leeds LS1, right? Leeds LS1. So in Leeds LS1 specifically, we were just doing some research, and so rooms wanted, 402. 402 people currently as we speak right now, want a room to stay in Leeds LS1. That's specifically just the city centre postcode. Now, how many rooms are there? If the market's saturated, there should be more rooms than people, right? 34 rooms. That is obviously, you're probably thinking, how does that relate to Airbnb and stuff like that? We'll obviously bring that all back home, but it is not saturated. Simple as. Conclusion wasted, but it's not saturated. As you can see, there's way more people that want rooms as opposed to rooms, okay? So, what does that mean? So in the UK, the government's actually been putting out, we'll actually attach a screenshot right here, but every single year they have a quota of how many properties they actually need to build, right? And that quota is meant to be 300,000. If I'm not mistaken, they've never hit that since the 80s. If I'm not mistaken, I will double check that, but as far as I'm concerned, they're not able to hit the amount of houses that they need to build for the supply that we have in the UK. That's just for the UK itself. Now, and people in the UK are your tenants in Airbnbs. They can be. It's contractors. It'll be people that are staying in your city. People that are traveling to Leeds, for instance. And then it takes us to point 2, tourism rates, right? So not only do you have the UK client base, but you have people that are coming into the UK. Now in Leeds specifically, obviously this isn't just LS1. I do understand that, but as you can see, 29 million day and night visitors in 2017. And 31.68 million day and night visitors in 2023. Now, I'm not amazing at maths, but I believe that is at least not half, about 30% increase, I believe. Yeah. No, I got that so wrong. What am I talking about? What? No, don't believe me. It's like 2 million increase, basically stuff like that. So that's a lot more people coming in. And as you can see, the contribution to the economy is massive. So not only is there not enough properties in the UK for people to stay at, basically, there's actually loads of people coming in. So they need more properties, in other words. There's loads of people coming in and there's not enough properties. What do they need? More Airbnbs, right? So I'm not saying that you need to build properties. What I'm saying is a lot of properties can be converted into Airbnbs or flats or stuff like that. So it's definitely an option. That's the stats, basically. As you can see, occupancy rates here. So this is a Leeds hotel study. Hotels in Leeds. And it just goes through the occupancy rates of hotels specifically. So when you're looking at the room rate, don't factor that in. Room rates in hotels are slightly lower than Airbnbs because the product is way worse. They're not even giving you a kitchen, you don't have a garden, it's just a room. Your occupancy rates in hotels are 75%, 78%, it's just going up and up. Obviously, as you can see, it's basically flat, and there isn't a latest study coming out. But from occupancy rates that we've seen on Airbnb ourselves, it's actually going up. So with every time you're listing and your listing gets better and your properties are getting better, the actual occupancy is going up like that. So what we're finding is, with the amount of tourists coming in, the amount of people traveling around the UK from location to location, having to visit Leeds, having to work in Leeds and stuff like that, the occupancy is going up in these places. So if occupancy is going up, that arguably means demand is going up, right? yes, there's new properties coming into the market, but what you also see is point 3. So that covers the stats, point 2, the data, and that covers point 1, which is demand and supply. So demand and supply is actually in your favor. It is unsaturated. There's way more people that need properties coming into the country, in the country, as opposed to properties available. So there is space to bring new properties into the market. Data says that as well. Now we look at the actual fundamentals of what saturation means. So saturation is a good thing, and any good business owner, any good person looking for an opportunity realizes that saturation is a good thing. Why is that? Because saturation means life. If a market has loads of people operating in it, that means it's a good market. People think that's a bad thing. People think, oh, the opportunity is untapped. No, it's not. Bitcoin's price went up when the amount of people that had it went up. Does that make sense? Saturation is a good thing. There is life there. So that's exactly what you want to think. Now, also, expert Airbnb hosts like ourselves, and hopefully like you, realize that saturation is only a thing, or people are only listing on Airbnb and not getting booked due to saturation because their properties are shit. Simple as. As you can see here, we're looking at the LS1 properties, okay? I'm not saying these are shit, but as you can see, there aren't loads of reviews, right? Which means the properties just aren't that good. It's not because the saturation is there, or demand isn't there. As you can see from the hotels, as you can see from the tourists, there's a lot of people coming into Leeds. And what do you think? Those people are going to take 6-month contracts? They're not. They need Airbnbs. They need short stays, right? As you can see here, there's some which have 500 reviews. So there's a lot of demand. What's causing certain people not to get booked and stuff like that is where they don't have professional pictures. They don't take the property game that seriously. Look at this. So obviously, I'm not bashing it, but if you're coming into the market and you're worrying about saturation and stuff like that, the way that you need to reframe it is that I'm just going to beat everything that's in that current location. That's the way you need to think of it. So whenever we're coming into a market, what we do is we look at what the competitors are providing. So right here, you'll see the sort of products, you see the quality, you see like the way the designs are. Even if you have a different design to everyone else, that costs the same amount of money, but it allows you to be above the rest of them. It allows them to look saturated and you to look like a completely different property and allowed to be booked, basically. The way that we see it is we look at the competition, we analyze it, we think how can we be better than them, provide a better product for a slightly lesser price. As soon as we got that lesser price, of course we can get booked because our product's better. We get booked, we get reviews, and then as soon as we got loads of good reviews, the price slightly comes up of the market. So not because customers really do. This is customer psychology 101 basically. They think products are more valuable if they cost more. Now, let that sit in. If that doesn't make sense to you, when you have a Gucci t-shirt and a Nike t-shirt and you see someone walking by, you think the Gucci shirt is like a higher quality and stuff like that. You think it's a better shirt than a Nike shirt, but it isn't. It's the same quality. They're literally made in similar factories. Like I think H&M and Gucci are in the same factory. Like it's all the same quality. It's just because Gucci has a higher price tag, you think it's better. It's the same with properties, the same with everything. Consumers will always think that. So what you do is come in, make a better property, be slightly lower than the market average, and then boost yourself above market average as soon as you got your reviews, just so they've got some social proof that your property is good, right? So this is how you beat saturation, which isn't even real. And to conclude, do you think the market is saturated? What do you reckon?
No. The data does not lie. The data doesn't lie. If you're scared that the market's too saturated, you simply don't believe that you can do a good enough job. And that's not a problem. It's just that if you don't believe you should do a good enough job, you should be staying away from business anyway. You need to back yourself when going into business. And the way to overcome all this saturation, as shown before with them previous pictures and previous listings, is to simply have a good product. You simply need to put as much effort into your product as possible so that saturation doesn't even matter. If you have the best product out there and you're going in with the mindset that you're going to get the best product out there, competition doesn't exist.
Exactly. You're in a market of your own at that point. So saturation does not exist. If you're going to come in and bring a shit property, which is just a coffee table and a TV, then yeah, you will definitely suffer from saturation. It's not saturation. Your property is just shit. Be better. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time. Hope you all enjoyed that video. Hope it made a lot of sense. See you soon in the next one.
Like and subscribe.